Welcome to English Stories Hub, stories that stay with you. Here, every story takes you on an unforgettable journey. Find a quiet moment, relax, and let today's story unfold. And now, let's begin. The 12 Letters. Emma Carter stood in front of the old house and did not move for a few seconds. The air was cold, even though it was not winter. The sky was gray and still, like time itself had slowed down. She had not been here for a long time, not since the funeral. Her grandmother's house looked the same, but it did not feel the same. It felt empty in a different way. Not just empty of people, but empty of sound, of life, of presence. Emma slowly opened the door. It made a soft sound, too loud for the silence inside. She stepped in. The house smelled like old paper and wood. Memories were everywhere. Books on the shelves, a chair near the window, a small table where her grandmother used to drink tea every morning. Emma walked slowly through the room. "I just need to take a few things," she whispered, but her voice felt you here, like it did not belong anymore. She moved closer to the fireplace, and then she stopped. There was a small wooden box, clean, simple, old, but carefully placed, as if someone had been waiting for her to find it. Emma crouched down. Her heart slowed. On the top of the box was her name, Emma Carter. She did not touch it immediately. Something about it felt important, not dangerous, just meaningful. She finally touched the wood, warm, strange, almost alive. Under her name there were words, "For Emma, open only when your heart is ready." Emma froze for a moment. Her thoughts tried to make it simple, a gift, a memory, something left behind. But her heart did not agree. It felt heavier, like the box already knew her. She sat down slowly and opened it. Inside were 12 letters, neatly arranged, numbered from 1 to 12. Emma whispered, "This is impossible." But it was real. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to subscribe. More heartfelt stories are waiting for you. She picked up letter 1 and opened it. Letter 1. My dear Emma, if you are reading this, you are standing in a moment that will stay with you longer than you think. Do not rush. This is the first rule. I want to tell you something simple. Kindness is never small. A long time ago, I helped a woman in the rain. She had no umbrella. I gave her mine. That was all. I never saw her again. But years later, someone helped me in the same way. That is when I understood. Life does not return things immediately, but it always returns them. If you ever feel that your actions do not matter, remember this. Every small kindness continues somewhere else. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma held the letter for a long time. Something inside her softened. Not happiness, not sadness. Something deeper, understanding. She placed letter 1 down and picked up letter 2. Letter 2. My dear Emma, this is about a memory I never forgot. A small bookstore, a man I used to see there. We never spoke much, but silence between people is not always empty. One day he asked me, "What kind of stories do you like?" I said, "Stories that feel real." He smiled, and I never forgot that moment. Life moved on, and I left without saying goodbye. I told myself it did not matter, but some moments stay where you leave them. Not every story has an ending. Some stories simply become part of who you are. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma closed her eyes for a moment. She did not understand why these simple memories felt so powerful. But she kept reading. Letter 3. Fear does not always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like logic. I once stood at a crossroads. One path was safe, the other was uncertain. I chose safe. At the time it felt right. But later I understood something painful. Some choices do not hurt immediately. They hurt slowly, not because of regret, but because of the life you did not live. Do not let fear wear the mask of wisdom. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma exhaled slowly. She felt something familiar in those words. Too familiar. She kept reading. Letter 4. Silence can protect a relationship for a while, but it can also destroy it slowly. There was someone I stopped speaking to, not because of one moment, but because of many small ones. We both waited, and no one moved first. Pride kept us apart. Time made it worse. One day it was too late. Forgiveness must happen before silence becomes permanent. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma felt a small pressure in her chest. Not pain, awareness. She continued. Letter 5. One rainy day I met a stranger. She gave me her umbrella. No questions, no expectations, just kindness. Later in my life I received help in the same way. That is when I understood. We are connected in ways we do not see. Kindness always finds its way back. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma looked out the window. The world outside felt different now. She continued. Letter 6. I had many dreams when I was young, but I kept waiting for the right time. Later, tomorrow, someday. But someday never came. Dreams do not disappear. We simply stop choosing them, and slowly life becomes smaller than it should be. It is never too late to begin again, but it becomes later faster than we think. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma sat quietly for a long time, then continued. 7. I once believed I was too late, but I was wrong. One small moment changed everything. I realized I still had time, not perfect time, real time. Life begins when you stop waiting for it to begin. Love, Grandma Rose. Terror. 8. Pain does not disappear when we hide it. It only changes shape. Silence can feel safe, but it slowly takes pieces of us away. Honesty is not weakness, it is connection. If you are hurting, do not carry it alone. Love, Grandma Rose. Letter 9. Time feels endless until it does not. I used to think I could always start later, but life moves whether we are ready or not. The small moments matter more than we think. Tea in the morning, walking slowly, looking at the sky. These are life too. Love, Grandma Rose. Letter 10. A tree does not grow in one day. It grows slowly, quietly, without attention. That is how people grow too. You may not see change every day, but it is happening. Always. Love, Grandma Rose. Letter 11. My biggest mistake was not one action. It was waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for courage. Waiting for life to fix itself. But life does not wait, and some chances do not return. All we can do is move forward with what we still have. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma placed the letter down slowly. There was only one left. Letter 12. Her hand stopped for a moment. She felt something strange, not fear, finality. She opened it. Letter 12. My dearest Emma, If you are reading this, then you have reached the end. But this is not an ending. It is a beginning. I did not write these letters to tell you about my life. I wrote them to help you understand yours. You are not broken. You are becoming. Everything you have lived is shaping you. And everything you feel is part of that process. Do not wait for life. Live it, now, not later. Love is not something we wait for. It is something we continue. I love you. Love, Grandma Rose. Emma sat in silence. For a long time, the house was still the same, but she was not. Something inside her had changed, not suddenly, completely. She stood up, walked to the table, and took a blank sheet of paper. She wrote at the top, Letter 1, and she began again. At first, nothing came. The paper remained almost empty. Emma held the pen above the page and waited. The room was silent. Only the old clock on the wall continued its slow rhythm. Tick, tick, tick. She smiled. Her grandmother used to say that silence was never empty. It was simply waiting for someone to listen. Emma looked around the room. Everything felt familiar now, not because the house had changed, because she had. She lowered the pen and wrote. To the person who believes they are alone, I do not know your name. I do not know where you are. Perhaps we will never meet. But if this letter has somehow found you, please stay a little longer. Life has a strange way of changing when we least expect it. Sometimes hope arrives quietly, not as a miracle, not as an answer, but as one small reason to keep going. Today, let this letter be that reason. With love, someone who understands. Emma stopped writing. She stared at the page. It did not feel like her words. It felt as if they had always existed. She simply happened to write them down. She folded the letter carefully. There was no envelope, no address, no name, just a single sheet of paper. She laughed softly. What am I supposed to do with you? The question stayed in the room, unanswered. The next morning, Emma decided to leave the house for the first time in days. The town looked exactly as she remembered. The bakery still opened before sunrise. Children still hurried toward school. An elderly couple still walked hand in hand along the same street. Life had continued, even while she believed it had stopped. She carried the folded letter inside her coat pocket, without knowing why. As she reached the small park near the town square, she noticed an old man sitting alone on a wooden bench. He fed tiny pieces of bread to the birds, one by one, patiently, almost lovingly. There was something familiar about the way he sat, not his face, his loneliness. Emma slowed her steps. The old man looked up. Their eyes met for only a second. He smiled politely, then looked back at the birds. Emma kept walking. No, she whispered to herself. This isn't how stories work. She almost laughed. Grandma had never believed in destiny. She believed in choices. Emma continued toward the cafe. She ordered tea, the same kind her grandmother used to drink. When she returned to the park 20 minutes later, the old man was still there. This time there were no birds, only silence. Emma walked closer. Beautiful morning, she said. The man smiled. It would be. If I knew how to enjoy it. She frowned slightly. What do you mean? He looked at the empty path ahead. My wife loved this park. We came here every Saturday for 43 years. He paused. She passed away 8 months ago. Emma felt the air leave her lungs. I'm sorry. So am I. He smiled again. But saying it doesn't change anything. No, it doesn't. For a while, neither of them spoke. The silence felt strangely comfortable. Then the old man said quietly, "People think grief becomes smaller. It doesn't. You simply become stronger at carrying it." Emma remembered letter 8. Pain does not disappear when we hide it, without thinking. She reached into her pocket. She unfolded the letter. "I wrote something yesterday. I don't know why, but I think it belongs to you." The man looked surprised. "For me?" "I think so." He accepted the paper with careful hands. His fingers trembled. He began to read. Emma watched his face. At first, nothing changed. Then his eyes slowed. His breathing became deeper. He reached the final line, closed his eyes, and held the paper against his chest for a very long time. When he finally spoke, his voice had changed. "My wife used to leave little notes in my lunchbox. Every Friday. I haven't received words meant for me in a very long time." Emma swallowed. "I didn't know. You couldn't." He folded the letter with incredible care. "As strange as this sounds, I think I needed this." Emma smiled. "So did I." The old man stood slowly. "My name is Henry." "I'm Emma." He nodded. "Thank you, Emma." She watched him walk away. His steps were still slow, but no longer heavy. That evening, Emma returned to her grandmother's house. She expected to feel proud. Instead, she felt peaceful. There was a difference. Pride asked for recognition. Peace asked for nothing. She placed her notebook on the table. Then something caught her eye. The wooden box. It was still open. She was certain she had closed it before leaving. Very certain. She walked closer. Inside, lying beneath the place where the 12 letters had rested, was a tiny folded piece of paper. She had never seen it before. With careful hands, she opened it. Only one sentence was written inside. "Do not choose who deserves your kindness." There was no signature. Emma smiled through tears. "All right, Grandma. I understand." Or perhaps she was only beginning to. Thank you for spending your time with us. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment and let us know what you thought. We'd also love to hear what kind of stories you'd like to listen to next. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to English Stories Hub. A new story is coming soon, and we can't wait to share it with you. Thank you for your support, your comments, and for being part of our community. Until next time, take care and keep the stories alive.